Indonesia, the fourth most populated country on Earth. It's a massive archipelago comprised of over 17,000 islands strewn across the continents, Asia and Oceania. Its territory stretches along 5,800 kilometers of coastline, which covers a total area of 1.9 million square kilometers. Even though their national motto is unity in diversity, there is a misconception that it's inherently unstable. So today, we embark on a journey across millennia to understand how a civilization born out of the ocean has grown to be such a powerhouse of the modern age. We will explore the golden empires, the colonial struggles, the revolutionary victories, and the enduring spirit of the Indonesian people who continue to write this story every day. Maritime trade routes link these settlements, facilitating the exchange of goods, ideas, and religions. Under the visionary leadership of Raden Wijaya, who established his capital in Trowulan, the empire reached its zenith under the revered Prime Minister Gajah Mada. Unlike many regions, Islam did not arrive through conquest or coercion, but through the gentle winds of commerce. European powers hungry for riches and control descended upon the archipelago, setting in motion centuries of colonial struggle. Despite this change in administration, the essence of colonial rule remained. Intellectuals and activists yearned for self-determination and an end to colonial rule. Figures like Sukarno, Hatta, and Shahrir emerged as leaders of the burgeoning independence movement. This period was marked by instability and economic challenges. Frequent changes in government policies, coupled with Sukarno's increasingly erratic behavior, led to uncertainty and economic turmoil. Despite these internal issues, Indonesia played an active role in international affairs, advocating for the rights of newly independent nations and championing the cause of decolonization. The country has seen notable economic growth, lifting millions out of poverty and establishing itself as a regional powerhouse. From its humble beginnings as a center of prehistoric life to its evolution into a bustling hub of international trade, the archipelago has witnessed millennia of change. The rise and fall of empires, the influx of global powers, and the continuous interplay between tradition and modernity have all contributed to the tapestry that defines Indonesia today. But perhaps the Indonesian economy is now one of the largest in Asia. Major cities like Jakarta, Surabaya, and Medan have become bustling hubs of commerce and industry. But while Indonesia has made tremendous strides, it faces ongoing challenges. Issues like inequality, corruption, and environmental protection remain pressing concerns for the nation. However, by the mid-1960s, Sukarno's confrontational foreign policies and the deteriorating economy led to growing discontent. The September 1965 incident, a failed coup attempt, provided the catalyst for a major shift in power. In the aftermath of the incident, hundreds of thousands of suspected communists were brutally massacred. This dark chapter tarnished Indonesia's reputation on the international stage. General Suharto seized power, ushering in the authoritarian New Order regime. His government embarked on an ambitious campaign of economic liberalization, attracting foreign investment and transforming the country into one of the fastest-growing economies in Asia. However, this growth came at a cost. Corruption, cronyism, and human rights abuses became rampant under the new order. Opposition to Suharto's regime steadily grew, finding voice in student demonstrations and reform movements. The May 1998 riots in Jakarta, sparked by economic hardship and racial tensions, proved to be the tipping point. Facing mounting pressure and protests, Suharto resigned in May 1998, bringing an end to his 32-year rule. Political parties, such as the Indonesian National Party, or PNI, gained momentum, articulating the desires of a nation seeking autonomy. Key figures like former President Suharto faced trials for their misdeeds. Efforts were made to decentralize the economy, promote religious tolerance, and protect human rights. Despite these challenges, Indonesia's commitment to democracy deepened. Free press and a more open media helped foster public discourse and accountability. The terrible 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, one of the deadliest natural disasters in history, devastated much of Indonesia's coastline. It affected over 147,000 people and caused extensive damage to infrastructure and livelihoods. But in the face of this tragedy, the Indonesian people displayed remarkable resilience. They came together to rebuild their communities, showing the world the strength of their unity and determination. As World War II raged in Europe, the Dutch East Indies became a point of contention. The Japanese, driven by their own imperial ambitions, invaded the islands in 1942, marking another dramatic turn in Indonesia's history. The Japanese occupation, though brutal, inadvertently played a significant role in preparing the Indonesian people for independence. During the war, Indonesians were recruited into the Japanese military and exposed to modern weaponry and tactics. This military training proved invaluable in the struggle for independence that followed. Additionally, the Japanese dismantled many aspects of Dutch rule, creating a sense of administrative autonomy that further fueled the desire for self-governance. As World War II drew to a close and Japan's hold on the archipelago weakened, the seeds of revolution were sown. The Dutch focused on extracting resources and maintaining their dominance rather than investing in the well-being of their colony. They implemented an extract, monopolize, and repress system, draining the resources of the islands, controlling key industries, and suppressing any form of dissent. The Indonesians, however, resisted in various ways. Secret societies, rebellions, and cultural expressions of nationalism became common. The Dutch response was harsh, employing military force and repressive policies to maintain control. The Portuguese, eager to dominate trade routes, established a trading post in Malacca, disrupting the existing balance of power. This intrusion threatened the prosperity and autonomy of the Indonesian kingdoms. This momentous declaration marked the birth of the modern Republic of Indonesia, but the road to recognition was fraught with challenges. The Dutch, seeking to reassert their colonial authority, returned to the islands, leading to a bitter 3-year war. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, the Indonesian revolutionaries demonstrated remarkable tenacity. They utilized guerrilla tactics, exploiting the dense jungles and vast waterways to their advantage. On December 1949, after years of struggle and international pressure, the Dutch finally recognized Indonesian sovereignty, ending their colonial rule and setting the stage for a new era. The Dutch, driven by similar ambitions, created the Dutch East India Company, or VOC, in 1602. The VOC, a formidable force equipped with the backing of the Dutch government and a monopoly on trade, quickly overshadowed the Portuguese presence. They seized key spice ports, including those in the Banda Islands, where they ruthlessly exploited the nutmeg trade. The VOC aimed to monopolize trade and extract maximum profits from the archipelago. They built Batavia, now Jakarta, as their administrative and commercial hub. Life under the VOC was fraught with exploitation and abuse. Indonesians were subjected to forced labor, discriminatory laws, and mass killings, particularly in Banda and the Moluccas. The Dutch East India Company's grip on the archipelago extended to every aspect of life. The VOC's focus on maximizing profits led to the neglect of infrastructure, education, and public services, hindering the overall development of the region. For centuries, the archipelago was known as the Dutch East Indies, a name that symbolized the subjugation and exploitation of its people. But resistance smoldered beneath the surface, waiting for its moment to ignite. Arab, Persian, Indian, and Chinese Muslim merchants carried with them not just exotic goods, but also the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad. They shared their faith with the local populace, attracting followers who found resonance in Islam's message. The first sultanate to embrace Islam was Aceh in the northern tip of Sumatra, followed by Demak and Mataram in Java and Ternate and Tidore in the Spice Islands. This gradual shift transformed the spiritual and cultural landscape of the archipelago. Islamic ideals blended seamlessly with local customs and languages, giving rise to a uniquely Indonesian form of Islam. Mosques, madrasas, and mosques became centers of learning, fostering scholarship and religious harmony. As Islam took root, it reshaped local traditions. Gamelan music adapted to incorporate Islamic motifs, and Islamic architecture enriched the archipelago's built environment. Prominent mosques like the Istiqlal Mosque in Jakarta stand as symbols of this beautiful fusion. By the 18th century, almost half of the population had converted to Islam, setting the stage for a society where religious diversity coexisted with cultural unity. He pursued an aggressive campaign to unite the scattered kingdoms of the archipelago under the banner of Majapahit. The empire stretched from the Malay Peninsula to the Banda Sea, embracing diverse cultures and peoples. Gajah Mada's dream was a unified Indonesia, a concept that would resonate throughout history. His efforts were enshrined in the famous Gajah Mada Oath, a pledge for unity and expansion that continues to inspire Indonesians today. The wealth and influence of the Majapahit Empire were legendary, controlling key maritime passages. They levied tributes on passing ships, amassing a fortune from the lucrative spice trade. Cloves, nutmeg, and sandalwood flowed from the forests of the Moluccas, their value exceeding that of gold. But by the 1500s, the Majapahit Empire crumbled, succumbing to internal strife and the rising tide of Islam. By the 1st century CE, Indonesia had evolved into a hub of cultural fusion. Indian merchants sailing east brought with them the influences of Hinduism and Buddhism, forever altering the religious and intellectual landscape of the islands. During this time, local rulers embraced new political concepts from India, laying the foundation for sophisticated kingdoms that would emerge in the centuries to come. In the northern Sumatran jungle, remnants of the Kingdom of Kutai, one of the earliest to leave written records, tell tales of a prosperous realm. Further south on the shores of the Javan Sea, the Buddhist Sailendra dynasty constructed Borobudur, the largest Buddhist monument in the world. Its towering dome symbolizes the aspirations of a golden age when art, religion, and cosmopolitan exchange flourished. And on the slopes of Mount Merapi, the Hindu Mataram kingdom built Prambanan, an awe-inspiring complex of towering spires, a testament to the archipelago's rich cultural tapestry, and prone to unrest, perhaps due to its history of colonialism, revolutions, and authoritarianism. And despite its strategic location at the heart of the Pacific Ring of Fire, Indonesia is prone to earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, making it one of the most disaster-prone nations on Earth. However, it's precisely this spirit of overcoming obstacles that has shaped the Indonesian psyche. It is home to more than 285 million people, and it is growing fast. In 2025, Indonesia will overtake the United States to become the third most populated nation on Earth. And yet few countries are as misunderstood as Indonesia. Indonesia is the beating heart of Southeast Asia. It is the largest Muslim-majority democracy in the world, and one of only 5 countries in the world that possess nuclear weapons. Before we get into the video, welcome to the channel. We bring you the finest in historical documentaries. And if you enjoy our work, please support us. Now let's begin. Indonesia's story begins long before recorded history. The island of Java served as the cradle for what would become a millennia-spanning civilization. Scattered across the landscape are relics of humanity's earliest chapters. Ancient burial grounds and artifacts hint at the lives of those who lived here hundreds of thousands of years ago. But it was the arrival of Homo sapiens around 40,000 years before Christ that marked a turning point. These early inhabitants weren't just survivors. They were innovators, artists, and community builders. Evidence of their presence can be found in the caves of Sulawesi, where they left behind haunting hand stencils, some of the oldest examples of prehistoric art in the world. As millennia passed, coastal settlements sprung up along the shores of the archipelago, each with its own distinct character and cultural nuances. In the 13th century, the greatest empire of classical Indonesia arose, the Majapahit Empire. The story of Islam's arrival in Indonesia is a testament to the role of trade in shaping cultural destinies. The 16th century marked a pivotal point in Indonesia's history. During the 19th century, the Dutch crown assumed direct control over the islands, ending the VOC's reign. The 20th century dawned with a surge in Indonesian nationalism. On August 17, 1945, with the Japanese surrender imminent, Sukarno and Hatta proclaimed Indonesia's independence from both the Dutch and the Japanese. Under Sukarno's leadership, Indonesia navigated a complex path during the Cold War, carefully balancing its relations between the United States and the Soviet Union. Indonesia's transition to democracy was far from easy. The Reformasi era was marked by political turmoil, economic challenges, and social upheaval. Today, Indonesia stands as a vibrant democracy. Its people exercise their right to vote in regular elections, choosing their leaders through peaceful means. In conclusion, Indonesia's journey through history is nothing short of extraordinary.